everyone, thanks for joining. Today we're going to be taking a comparative look at LaunchNotes and AnnounceKit. So taking a look at each one in a little bit of detail, both of these tools are fantastic and really popular tools for product announcements, release notes, and roadmap communications. Now, if you are an organization that is managing a SaaS product or working in product ops, these tools can seriously streamline how you keep both internal teams and customers aligned, what's shipping, what's planned, and what's changed. Now, I'm going to be taking a look at each tool in quite a bit of detail, comparing what each one does really well and where they fall short. It's a super honest review. I've used both of these tools quite in some detail, so hopefully I can give you a good insight into the tool and what I like about them specifically. Now, just off the bat, both LaunchNotes and AnnounceKit are designed to make product communication easier. Instead of juggling spreadsheets, things like Notion pages, Slack updates, there's nothing wrong with Slack updates and Notion pages. However, this gives you a really centralized way to gather that feedback, share roadmaps, and look at user feedback in one tool. Now, the main difference between these tools mostly comes down to things like scale, segmentation, and polish. So just off the bat, LaunchNotes is probably better suited for larger teams who care about things like really advanced segmentation. They've got a lot of capabilities within the tool, things like multi-channel announcements and stakeholder alignment. Now, on the other hand, AnnounceKit, really great tool as well, bit more lightweight, perfect for probably small to mid-sized organizations and those teams that are really focused on things like NPS or Net Promoter Score, and they want to get their announcements out really fast and focus on things like feedback and NPS data. So really more focus on that. And I think when taking a look at these two tools comparatively, I would actually recommend giving the free trial a good spin. They are quite feature-rich free trials, which is awesome. I really like that about a tool like this, is that you can really get your hands dirty and have a look at the interface, the look and feel in terms of who is going to be using the tool. That might be important. Are they very technical? Are they not technical? Are you going to be having a PM or a product manager managing these updates? Or perhaps do you have a communications team managing these updates to customers or to business or to internal stakeholders? That's really important to know because the functionality of each tool is a little bit different in terms of its full kind of lightweight versus heavyweight tooling, a little bit different between the two tools. Now, number one, I'm just going to start with pricing and accessibility. So let's just have a look at AnnounceKit. Now, in terms of AnnounceKit, they do have a free plan available, and they do have a 15-day free trial with paid tier starting at around about $79 per month, and then going up to custom pricing depending on if you are a large organization. So do keep that in mind. And then another one to keep in mind is the fact that the Net Promoter Score software itself is separate, and that starts at $42 per month or $49 per month if you are paying month to month. So do keep in mind that the pricing does change in terms of the tooling itself. Now, comparatively, LaunchNotes is a little bit more on the pricey side, but they do have a lot more when it comes down to the actual functionalities from a product announcements tool. So they do have a growth plan that's $249 a month. They do have an annual discount as well available, so do keep that in mind. If you prefer month to month or annual pricing, it does change. However, I do like the fact that both of these tools have that flexibility that if you're a small business, you want to try it out for a few months, give it a bash. It does have a free trial available as well. And of course, they've got custom pricing for the premium plan. However, they don't have separate pricing for different modules, whereas AnnounceKit does have that NPS tooling as a separate price point. So do keep that in mind. Now, if you're an early stage team, I would say AnnounceKit probably gives you a bit more flexibility to get started cheaply. But if you are a mid or large size organization and you need something that really can segment and manage stakeholder management, things like deep customization, LaunchNotes probably will be a better fit, and therefore the pricing does make sense in that vein. Now, first of the functionalities we're going to have a look at is the roadmap functionality within the tool. Now, in terms of both roadmap features, I think that this is where LaunchNotes probably really shines in terms of its functionality. Now they've got a really clean drag and drop interface, so you've got private and public views, and I'm going to take a little bit of a deep dive into the tool itself. I do have a free trial setup that I am managing, and you do have the functionality within the tool to manage active and archived roadmaps. You can set them up in terms of customization. So each of these phases has various lanes that you can set up and customize. I do quite like that because depending on how you configure it internally, you may have like a now, next, later kind of setup. You may just have a simple in progress, closed, done, whatever your statuses are, and you can configure a roadmap with that in mind. So really, really good, strong itemization available within the tool itself. And as mentioned, you've got a really easy drag and drop feature functionality within the tool itself. So I've gone and added a couple test items here. And another one of the really cool standout features is that you can set up subscriber updates to go to various users within the tool itself. Now, if you have subscribers, they can actually subscribe from the roadmap if it's external or internal, depending on where your roadmap is set up to be displayed. And what I quite like is that you can also then subscribe users if need be. So perhaps they've not gone and proactively subscribed themselves, and your managers are shouting at you because they want to know where in the roadmap their feature is sitting. You can actually add them to the roadmap to receive updates as you move your tasks through the workflow, which is really cool. So something to keep in mind if this is something that's really important to you. You do have a lot of configurability within the tool itself. And then, of course, just managing the content around your roadmap items is quite easy to do. You can add a lot in terms of the features itself. And you can also set up things like categories, labels, if you've got those set up within the tool. Really cool from a roadmap perspective. Now, AnnounceKit, on the other hand, in terms of its features and in terms of where it does have some strengths within the roadmap phase, probably a little bit more simple. However, they do have a solid setup, so it is a bit simpler, but it is solid. You can still customize stages, and you can even keep certain roadmaps private or internal, which is great for flexibility. So that is something that I do like about the tool itself, that you can even see just from the outset, really simple, really simple, really clean, really easy to add items to your roadmap. Again, much like LaunchNotes, is that you can add labels and add them to various stages, and you can then add dates and that kind of information quite easily. I haven't personally played around with this enough to know if they do have subscriber updates, but I would say this is probably more on the simpler side of things. So keep that in mind if you do need important updates to go out to users at various stages within the tool. Now, for complex product portfolios or larger roadmaps, I'd probably lean towards LaunchNotes. However, that being said, it may be overkill for really simple, small teams. Perhaps your startup, just a couple of users. This probably may be a better setup for you, especially if you have non-technical users, because it's really easy to set up and get going within minutes. Now, looking at our next features in terms of the tool itself, is that we've got things like announcements and release notes and changelog updates that do go to your customers or to users. Now, I quite like this because LaunchNotes actually does come with preset templates, and you can then go and configure your templates depending on what you would like it to say, and you can then make these reuse. So they actually come pre-filled, and if we go and add a new template, you can select a template from here based on various types of updates that are pretty typical in the product space. Let's have a look at something like a bug fix, for example. You could add that to your project, and then you can go and amend your templates. It does come with pre-filled copies, so if you are quite a lean team, I've been part of these kinds of teams where really to try and get things updated, make sure that our release notes or our changelogs are standardized. It's really helpful to have some guidance around here, especially if you have, say, a communications person doing this for you. They may not be that close to product updates, and it's really nice to have this information pre-filled. You can then go and add the content here, add your text, and in fact, they've even got an AI assistant that can help you create really great change logs or release notes or communications and generate an AI output for you. So in terms of that, really, really strong features. You can integrate, you can add media. And as mentioned, you can even add Jira issues to this, which is really cool. So if you are a Jira user, probably a good tool for you to have a look at. And then you can manage your communications quite easily within the tool itself. You can schedule announcements, which is awesome. And you can even look at things like email sent, the open rate, click-through rates, that kind of thing. And that all gets put into your dashboard. So really, really strong, I think, on the announcements side of things for LaunchNotes. And yeah, just overall really kind of easy to use, easy to draft communications, easy to create a number of announcements as well, and just keep users updated as quickly as possible. As mentioned, you can also then go and see dashboards for each specific announcement itself, which is quite cool. Now, AnnounceKit, on the other hand, also has a fantastic announcements feature. So they have templates, and they've also got a newly added, I might add, they've got a newly added AI feature itself. So if we go to posts, you can then go and add a specific announcement. And if we go and edit this post, we could see the various tooling within the feature itself. Now, you would then go and add your communication information, and you would then be able to add things like labels, authors, that kind of thing, and different features here, which is quite cool. So they have gone quite a long way in terms of configurability within the system itself, which I quite like. You can add attributes, and then as mentioned, you can add different features within the communication itself. You can add links, you can add buttons, you can add images and video as well, which is quite cool. Now, in terms of the additional features itself, you can preview, which I quite like, and you can even preview what that looks like on a widget. And I will say that this is probably where, for me, this is quite a big diversification in terms of the feature set itself. Where LaunchNotes probably isn't as strong on the widget side of things. This is something that AnnounceKit does quite well. I will say I have used the AI features within the tool on AnnounceKit. It is a little new, and I think with it being kind of new, it is not as polished as I'd like to see within the tool, and I don't know how heavily I would rely on that. So you can give the AI assistant a bit of a tweak, and then add in your information and the description of the announcements and spit out some text there. I just found that the text itself here is a little, and you can see how it cuts off here. So I don't think that they have looked at all the usability within the tool itself just yet. And hopefully that's something they iron out in the coming days. It is a very new feature. I'm glad to see that they are keeping up with the times and using things like AI Assistant. And then what I do like is they do have an import coming soon for Jira and Linear. So if these are items that you are busy or tools that you are busy using currently, this may be a good option for you to look at a later stage. Now, you do get things called boosters, which do let you control how updates are shown to users. So things like pop-ups, updates, that kind of thing. So if we go down to the bottom here, you will be able to send emails, have a modal, pop-ups, etc. And you can then also add segmentation at this point. So overall, really quite strong in terms of the communication. And just, yeah, pretty solid. I would say that it does need a little bit of love and attention before it's kind of something as solid as LaunchNotes. But really, if you are just running simple updates, it's probably a really great tool for you. Now, if we look at our, let's say, one of our last features here that we're touching on today, because there was so much to touch on, but there are obviously just so many great features within the tools that we can't cover everything. We do have things like feedback and idea management available within both tools that you can manage. Oh yeah, one of the other important features I did forget to mention on LaunchNotes is you can bundle up your announcements into a digest, and you can send out a set of announcements in a single digest to a number of users and target them within a cohort or by subscriber. So cohorts also include users that have maybe not yet registered. Perhaps you do want to target people with a specific domain. Even if they've not subscribed, you can go and send out communications to them. So that is something that is really powerful within LaunchNotes that I've seen. So as mentioned, they probably stand a bit stronger on the segmentation side because you can go into really advanced segmentation like this. AnnounceKit, on the other hand, you can do segmentation to some degree, but not as deep or like as rich in terms of the actual functionality itself. Going back to our feedback and idea management, so both tools let you collect feedback and ideas directly from users, which is really cool. So if your product updates have gone out and your product roadmap is out there, users can submit their feedback, which is really great. And you can then collect ideas, upload, downvote, and then manage them into your roadmap, which is really cool. Now, in terms of AnnounceKit, also similar, really in terms of the tooling itself. So you would have things like feature requests that users can then submit feedback. And this would be inactive because my free trial has run out, but you would be able to do this either manually by creating a feedback announcement, or users would be able to do that on the tool itself. So you would have a feedback widget at the bottom of your announcement. I do find it's right at the bottom of the announcement though, so you do have to scroll down to go in and submit your feedback. Now, as mentioned, one of the other standout features with AnnounceKit is the NPS. It is an add-on in terms of a paid for service. So do keep that in mind, but I do like that you can collect surveys, you can collect analytics, and you can then monitor overall user sentiment about your tool, which is really powerful. So do keep that in mind if that is something that's kind of like an add-on feature for you that is really important, as well as widgets, probably AnnounceKit being stronger in terms of that. However, LaunchNotes really stands out in terms of that user segmentation, really powerful road mapping, that kind of thing. Now, hopefully this has given you a really good view of both tools. Now, just at a recap, I probably say LaunchNotes, beautiful UI. I love their guided onboarding. That's something that they do as well, by the way. So really simple to get up and running. Really nice dashboarding, really great segmentation cohorts. The AI assistant works beautifully from what I've tried. You can even create markdown language within the tool itself, which is really powerful. Really great product roadmap management, and just really polished templates, email communications, that kind of thing. Now, the cons are that LaunchNotes does not have a free plan and probably a little bit on the pricier side. However, if you're looking at the functionality within the tool, it does make sense. And there's no built-in NPS feature. Now, AnnounceKit, on the other hand, quite affordable plans and really strong NPS and feedback tracking. So that's something where they really do stand out in terms of the UI, really intuitive, really easy to use. They've got multi-channel delivery options as well. But do keep in mind the customization is a lot more limited. The features don't kind of run as deep in terms of the functionality. And probably things like advanced features like cohorts, if that's important to you, that is missing from the tool. So in terms of which tool is right for you, keep in mind what your pain points are that you're looking to solve, what functionalities are important to you. I think if you're a larger product org and if you do need advanced communications, you need advanced control over things like announcement segmentation, go with LaunchNotes. However, if you're a smaller team and or a startup, and you need something really simple, really lightweight, and super affordable, I'd probably go with AnnounceKit. Thanks for joining. Hopefully that helps you decide on your next product tool. Thank you.